this morning, sun's a bit hazy. Checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. EMA, let's get this show on the road.
Let's do it, guys. Let's kick this can. Let's make this show happen. Let's make it do it to it, guys. Let's do it to it here. My name's Ron Tyler. I'm the president of Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Welcome to our program tonight. We're glad to have you here. Now, guys, we're going to be talking about worldwide earthquakes. We're also going to talk about volcanoes as well. But first, I want to go over to Japan. Japan. We had a very good sized earthquake there this morning in Japan. I'm showing you this video. I'm going to show you this start picture of this video here near Waldemare, Japan. This earthquake happened just miles offshore from Waldemare, Japan, and there's damage. There's damage, guys. Let's bring up the USGS map here as well so you can see what I'm talking about here. Give me a second here, guys. Okay. Over here in Japan, south of the main island, southern islands of Japan here. Right here. South of the main islands of Japan, these smaller islands are called the Ryukyu Islands. The Ryukyu Islands, guys. Well, guess what? There was an earthquake there. There was an earthquake there. Right here. Right here. Okay? Now, most people would call them the Ryukyu Islands, but there's one island here in specific terms as being hit by this earthquake. This earthquake was just north of the island here. Let me show you this. Actually, just barely north and east of this island here. Right here. Right here. See the town called Waldemari? Well, guess, or Wadamari? It got hit by the earthquake. It get hit by the earthquake here, just offshore here. Just barely offshore here, guys. Right there. Okay? This earthquake was not that far from the shoreline. Okay? This earthquake was 5 miles off the shore. 5 miles off the shore. Guess what? It first came out as a 6.3 earthquake. It got downgraded to a 5.9. 5.9 earthquake. I believe this is probably a 6.3 earthquake. Probably a 6.3 earthquake. Now, guys, they don't have any idea what's going on here. USGS does not have any idea what's going on. They put this up as a 5.9 earthquake, but they're only showing 5.3 earthquakes. That's all they're showing it as, a 5.3 earthquake. I believe this was a 6.3, maybe a 6.4 earthquake. Just 5 miles offshore. This town right here, Waldemari. This is a very small island. Very small island. It might be about 15 miles long, maybe only 2 miles wide. Maybe 2 miles wide at the very most. 5 miles off of the northeast shore of this island here is at least a 5.9 to 6.4 earthquake. 5 miles offshore. Now, guys, for the most part, if we're any further than this, I would say that the ocean waters of the Pacific Ocean or the East Chinese Sea here, or North Chinese Sea, would have absorbed part of the seismic waves from this earthquake. This earthquake was farther or very closer to the shoreline. If the Pacific Ocean waters or the North Chinese Sea absorbed any shock waves, it was very little. Let me show you this video here. You're going to want to see this, guys. This is important. This is very important here. Watch this. Landslides. Because it was so close to the island here, there was a small tsunami wave that hit almost instantly after the earthquake hit. Let's go through here and watch it again. Look at that. This is a landslide. You also see the water going up here. Start seeing the water hit the island. This earthquake was very close to this island. Damaging roadways. Landslides going on near the shoreline. This was a very big earthquake. Huge earthquake, guys. Huge earthquake here. They're going to spend some time in the near future repairing these roadways. Now, there's going to be aftershocks. There's going to be aftershocks from this earthquake. There has to be. There has to be. Because this earthquake was very close to this island, and it was at least a 6.3, not a 5.9, possibly even a 6.4, very strong earthquake. It hit. You saw the damage here. It's still a big deal. It's still a very big deal here, guys. Waldemari, Japan got hit in a big way. Now, let me bring up the USGS map more clearly here. I'm going to take down our EMA banner here. I'm going to take down a webcam for the time being. This is the earthquake here, just offshore from Waldemari, Japan. This island here is just off in the islands of what they call the Ryukyu Islands of Japan. Between Taiwan and Kyoto, Japan, we have the Ryukyu Islands here. All those islands between Taiwan and Japan belong to Japan. Okay? I want to make sure everybody understands that. Okay? It's important. It's really important. Now, let me do this, guys. Okay, let me do this. Let's back this out here. All these islands here belong to Japan. From the southernmost part of Kyoto, Japan here, all the way down south here to just north of Taiwan. All these islands belong to Japan. And yes, we've seen a lot of earthquakes in this area, all throughout the Ryukyu Islands here. They keep happening over and over and over. Almost on a daily basis, we have earthquakes here in the Ryukyu Islands. Okay? That was a large earthquake. One other earthquake here in Japan right here. This was a 4.5 moderate earthquake. 4.5 moderate earthquake, guys. This was also 143 miles deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. 143 miles deep. Just south and east of here is Sekiguri. I can't even pronounce the volcano's name. Sekiguri, Japan volcano. Sekiguri, Japan volcano. That volcano was erupting yesterday. It's not erupting today. Sekiguri volcano in Japan here. Now, let's go down here to Taiwan. Taiwan here. Central Taiwan, East Central Taiwan here. This is a 4.9, 5.0 earthquake here. 51 miles south of Hualien, Taiwan. Hualien, Taiwan is up here. This is 51 miles south of Hualien, Taiwan. A 5.0 earthquake here. Right next to it here, just to the north, is a 4.3 moderate earthquake here. Okay? Yes, they had earthquakes. This being a 5.0 earthquake here, just barely offshore here. They said it was 51 miles. I'm going to take them for their word here. This may or may not have had any impact on Taiwan at all. May or may not have had any impact on Taiwan at all. This is offshore. There are communities here. There are villages and communities here on the island here. You see a main highway artery here. That means Taiwan had some shaking here. Taiwan suffered some shaking here. They may have not have even felt the entire Band-Aid of the 5 point earthquake. I'm calling it a Band-Aid because the full impact of this earthquake did not hit the island, hit offshore. The ocean waters here absorbed the shockwaves of this quake. The other earthquake here, a 4.3 earthquake, was felt on land. 4.3 earthquakes are moderate earthquakes. USGS is calling them light earthquakes. I've explained myself before why I'm going to continue calling them moderate earthquakes. 4.0, 4.9 earthquakes cause moderate damage, not light damage. They cause moderate damage. That's why I'm staying with the 4.0 to 4.9 being moderate earthquakes. Moderate earthquakes. Okay, let's go south here. I'm zooming back out. USGS not even showing any earthquakes here in northern Philippines. They're not showing anything until we get here in the central Philippines right here, just north of Mindanao, Philippines. Mindanao, Philippines is the largest island in the Philippine chain down here, down south. Just north of the shoreline of Mindanao, Philippines here, we have another earthquake. This time a 4.7 moderate earthquake here. 4.7 earthquake is 45 miles deep. 45 miles deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. Moderate earthquakes are 250 to 350 miles deep. After that, they become deep earthquakes. This was a moderately deep, or very, not moderate, but very shallow earthquake. Very shallow earthquake. There's more earthquakes here as well. Okay? For the south here, down here, well, I'm sorry, that's Philippines. Further down here into Indonesia, Ternate, Indonesia. 4.6 earthquake, guys, here. That's just a moderate earthquake here. 81 miles north or west-northwest of Ternate, Indonesia. This is out in the ocean here. This is out in the Molucca Sea. If this earthquake had been any more powerful, the seismic waves from the earthquake were absorbed by the ocean here. The same thing is true for moderate earthquakes as well. This is nowhere near the shoreline. Nobody even felt this earthquake. However, there are a lot more earthquakes than this. USGS is also showing this one earthquake here, large 5.2 earthquake here. 5.2 earthquake here. Let's go over here and look where it's at. It's east of Java, Indonesia here. East of Java, Indonesia. This is a 5.2 large earthquake here. 5.2 large earthquake. Look where it's at. Look where it's at. They say it's 28 miles northeast of Sape, Indonesia. Well, guess what? It is directly west of this volcano here. Just west of this volcano here, guys. This is Sangayang Volcano. Sangayang Volcano. Now, I believe there may be some villagers here that live here on the edge of the volcano. They may farm parts of the volcano here, but I have no evidence of anybody living here. I can zoom in all I want to do here. There's no evidence of anybody living here, but there may be villages here at Sangayang Volcano here. Okay? Other than that, nobody felt this 5.2 earthquake here at all. Okay? However, there are a lot more earthquakes than that. Okay? Now, even though I've shown you that earthquake here, that does not negate the idea that there are no other earthquakes here. USGS has only shown this earthquake off of northwest Sumatra here. Northwest Sumatra here. Let me go over to our map and show you what is actually going on here in Indonesia. I feel very bad for these people here because they are they are being misrepresented here. They're being misrepresented here. Now, I'm going to show you our webcam here. I want to show you what actually happened. This 4.6 USGS is saying the European agency is calling it a 4.75. 4.75 earthquake here, just northwest of Sumatra, Indonesia. There are other earthquakes here as well. Up here in the north part of Sumatra, Indonesia, we have a 2.9 3.0 earthquake. 2.9 3.0 earthquake here. South of there, we have another 2.6 earthquake here. These are minor earthquakes. Minor earthquakes. South of the 4.7, we have a 3.6. I'm not going to show each and every earthquake that hit here in Indonesia today. However, I want you to understand what actually happened here in Indonesia today. There are 42 earthquakes here in Indonesia. 42. They are showing three earthquakes, one of which was a 5.6 earthquake. 5.6 earthquake. That's pretty poor for them. They still don't want to take responsibility for anything that happens. Earthquakes over here in Papua, Indonesia. This is Papua, Indonesia right here. They're not showing any earthquakes there. Well, guess what? Look at the earthquakes here. They can say all they want that they're showing earthquakes. They're not. Here they're showing on the map, on the entire USGS map, they're showing 224 earthquakes. 42 in Indonesia alone. They're showing three of those. That shows you where their heart is. They're not showing much of anything here at all. They're also not showing two earthquakes here in Australia. Here in Australia, right here. Right here, guys. Near Benjamin, Western Australia. 2.5 earthquake here. 2.5 earthquake near Perth, Australia. Over on the other coast, on the northwest coast of Australia here. Right here. Now, guys, I also need to tell you this. This is also the volcanic area of Australia. This is also the mountainous volcanic area of Australia. This is a 3.5 earthquake right there. 3.5 earthquake right there. Interesting to know. They're not showing any earthquakes there in Australia at all. Then let's go further to the east. Let's go further to the east here. Now I want to go over here to northern Fiji. Northern Fiji. USGS and the European agency is showing this 5.1 earthquake here. 5.1 earthquake. Shell earthquake. 6.2 miles deep. 10 kilometers deep. Interesting enough. This earthquake further to the southwest here, 4.5 earthquake here in Vanuatu. Vanuatu. 16 miles east-northeast of Is-Angel, Vanuatu. Is-Angel, Vanuatu right here. Just offshore here. Okay? Large 5.1 earthquake. 5.1 earthquake. 16 miles offshore. Anybody that lives in any of these villages here in Vanuatu may have felt some part of this earthquake. 16 miles offshore doesn't necessarily mean nobody felt it. There are any villages here near the northeastern shore of Isango, Vanuatu, they may have felt this earthquake. I don't see any villages at all here. None. None here. This area appears to be a huge wall of rock here. Huge wall of rock here along the ocean area. Right here. You have beaches here. You have beaches here. There's a village here. There's a village there. But again, this earthquake was far enough off ashore that these people may have not even felt the full brunt of the large earthquake. They may have felt 4.2, 4.3 type of moderate energy here, but they did not feel the full brunt of the 5.2 earthquake here, 5.1, 5.2 earthquake here. Okay, that's what's happened here. Let's go further here to the east. I was shooting those two earthquakes. Let's go further to the northeast here. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. 4.5 earthquake, northeastern Fiji. This is also a 4.6 earthquake. 4.6 earthquake. This is also moderately deep. 226 miles deep. Moderately deep earthquake. Further to the south here. This is a 4.5 earthquake here. Southern Fiji region. 4.5 earthquake. This happens to be 366 miles deep. 366 miles deep. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a deep look at this, guys. I'm going to turn this into kilometers deep for our purposes today. 4.5 earthquake, 590 kilometers deep. 590 kilometers deep. Now, guys, I'm going to go back to the depth to magnitude convergence chart that Don and Rebecca put this together. Rebecca was called Rebecca Explorer here. I also know her as one of my best friends, Rebecca, here in North Carolina. She and her friend Dawn from England made this chart that I'm going to show you here. It's reckoning here. It's reckoning time. 590 kilometers deep, we're going to add a 1.1 magnitude to that earthquake. See this here in the third column over? We're going to add a 1.19 magnitude to this earthquake. Why? Because what we're going to see here is very pertinent to what's happening here. Very pertinent to what's happening here. The reason is this. This earthquake here, this 4.5 earthquake here, is going to propagate or birth a much larger shallow earthquake. It's going to birth a 5.6 earthquake here within the next 3 to 10 days. A 5.6 earthquake here within the next 3 to 10 days. Now remember this. Yesterday we also had some moderate earthquakes here in Fiji. Those earthquakes were also 4.8 earthquakes. As I explained then, those earthquakes were going to birth much larger shell earthquakes, upwards of 5.8 to 6.0. 5.8 to 6.0. This earthquake is going to birth a 5.6 earthquake, larger shell earthquake, within the next 3 to 10 days. So right now, as of right now, today, we're going to see one very large 5.6 earthquake at least. We're also going to see two 5.8 to 6.0 earthquakes in the next 3 to 10 days in this region. In this region, which includes Tonga, Samoa, Fiji Islands, Vanuatu, the Solomon Islands, and also over here, even in Papua New Guinea. Even over here in Papua New Guinea. Those earthquakes could also be had here in New Zealand. We could also see those earthquakes here in New Zealand. Now, I've told you yesterday something else that has not happened here in a lot of years. When I first started this program, we saw earthquakes in the Fiji Tonga region, and I told you the same thing I'm telling you now about these earthquakes, birthing larger shell earthquakes. Back then, I told you that they could go even over here to southern Chile and Argentina. And yes, one time they did. I've been on the air now over 7 years, and we've seen one earthquake that originated over in the South Pacific Islands that ended up over here in South America. Now, I want to go also over here to the Antarctic Ridge. The Antarctic Ridge right here. There's a reason I'm going here. Number one, we had a very large earthquake here. Very strong 6.6 earthquake here. 6.6 earthquake here on the southern Antarctic Ridge. Now, look where it's at. Look where it's at on the USGS map. It's also on the southeastern end of the East Pacific Rise. The East Pacific Rise. But in this case, this is on the Antarctic Ridge, realistically. Realistically, it's on the Antarctic Ridge here. Now, they have it as a 6.6 earthquake. That's all fun and good. That was a 6.6 earthquake. This is a 5.6 aftershock. 5.6 aftershock. Interesting, huh? Large earthquake here, large aftershock. That's pretty much normal. That's pretty much normal. However, again, we're not done here. We're not done till the fat lady sings. This 6.6 earthquake was at least just that. It may have been larger than that. Why do I say that? I'm going to show you some data here that I downloaded from the USGS website. USGS Backseismologist page website. The Backseismologist page website. Their own website, guys. This is important. Look at this. I've shown you this kind of information before, yet it's still very important here. Now I'm going to open it up here so you can truly see what I'm talking about here. I want you to understand how strong this earthquake was. USGS says it was a 6.6. It may have been larger than that. May have been larger than that. The problem is this. Let's scroll down here. Let's scroll down here. See, it says a 6.6 very strong earthquake here with 15 seismographs reporting, but they're not showing any seismograph details here. They're not showing exactly how many seismographs were reporting here or what they were reporting. They said it was 15 seismographs, but they're not showing any data here. However, as we scroll further down here, they're showing this to be a 5.8 earthquake, nearly a full magnitude downgrade than what they're saying it is. They've already called it to be a 6.6 earthquake, but they're only showing 5.8 in lesser data here. Let's show you what they showed us here. This is a crying shame here. This is a freaking crying shame here. They're showing us a 5.7 earthquake, 2.5.7 seismic readings, then a 6.19, 5.88, 5.94, 5.86, 5.9, 6.03, 5.93, 5.98, 5.75, 6.16, 5.72, 5.89, 5.53, 5.55, 5.77, 5.98, 5.50, 5.50, 5.49, 5.86, 5.57, 6.17, 5.79, 5.78, 5.54, 5.93, 5.67, 5.71, 5.73, 5.39, 5.83, 5.72, 5.43, 6.18, 5.57, 5.9, 5.59, 5.97, 5.62, 5.36, 5.91, 5.84, 6.17, 6.89, 5.76, 5.93, 5.98, 6.06, and 5.74. On this seismograph readout here, at no time does this readout show any earthquakes as strong as 6.8. None. They don't show 6.6 either. They showed us 6.1 largest. 6.1 largest. All the rest of these are 5s and a couple 4s. That's not what they said it was. They said it was a 6.6, not a 5.8. But all they're showing us is lies. All the USGS is showing us are lies. Out and out fabrications. Out and out fabrications here. This is not the first time they've done this. It won't be the last. It won't be the last. It's sad. It's a very sad situation. Back in college, when I was studying geology, trying to become an astrogeologist, that's what I wanted to do. I had respect for the USGS. They also showed a lot of the other earthquakes around the world on the USGS map, which they're not doing anymore. Not at all. They're not even showing a third of the earthquakes around the world. Not even. Over here in South America, they're showing us 2 earthquakes. One here in Chile, on the western side of the Andes Mountains here, being a 4.1 moderate earthquake here, near Volcanoes, Chile, and another earthquake over here on the eastern side of the Andes Mountains here in Argentina. Morganton, Argentina, 4.5 earthquake here. There are 42 earthquakes here in South America, 42. Most of these earthquakes are either in Chile, Argentina, or over here in Bolivia. There are 2 earthquakes here in Peru. 2. Going over here into Colombia, there are 7 earthquakes here. And 2 up here in Venezuela. That does not even come close to telling us about what is happening here in South America when our own agencies lie through their teeth. There are 19 earthquakes here today in Central America. Over here in southern Mexico here, southern Mexico between Puerto Vallarta here and way down here in Oaxaca, Mexico. Lots and lots of earthquakes. 42 earthquakes here that they're not showing us at all. None. That's pretty sad. That is very sad. They would rather show us earthquakes here in southern Texas, for example. This is a 2.2 earthquake here. 2.2 earthquake here, guys. This is 13 miles southeast of Paracel, Texas. 2 earthquakes here near Christine, Texas. 1.0 tremor here and 1.4 tremor here near Tilden, Texas here. Then over here in Central Texas, guys, right here, Hermleigh, Texas. 2 years ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake here. This may be an aftershock of that earthquake. Here, Westbrook, Texas. We've had 4.5 earthquakes here. This is a 1.5 tremor here today. Going over here, small swarm of earthquakes here. Starting up here in the north. This near Los Ibanes, Texas. 0.7 microquake. Then we go up here further north. All these earthquakes I'm showing you here in Texas are oil and gas fracking earthquakes. Oil and gas fracking earthquakes. For example, this earthquake itself these 2 earthquakes themselves are right next to oil and gas pumping operations. Oil and gas pumping operations. Every time you see a blank space right here, appears to be a blank space right here, or a square space, rectangle, or square. These are oil and gas pumping operations, guys. Oil and gas pumping operations. This is a 0.9 microquake. This is a 1.5 microquake, 1.5 tremor here, Ackerley, Texas. Ackerley, Texas here. Texas is known for oil. Oil fields everywhere. Literally everywhere. You can see it here. Going over here to the west. Los Ibanes at 0.7 microquake. Then we can go south here. Right here. Stanton, Texas here. Stanton, Texas. 2 years ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake here. Today, this is 0.3 microquake here. This is a 1.0 tremor here near Stanton, Texas. You see oil and gas pumping operations all throughout this area. Oil and gas fracking earthquakes here. Oil and gas fracking earthquakes all throughout this area here. Further to the south here is 1.0 tremor here, 12 kilometers west of Stanton, Texas here. Oil and gas fracking operation earthquakes. This earthquake is right there on the boundary. Right there on the boundary. Okay? Just south there is an oil and gas pumping operation right there. These ponds are holding ponds for treated waste. Treated waste that they inject into the ground here to pull oil and gas out of the shale. To pull oil and gas out of the shale. The same thing over here. Here you also see holding tanks, storage tanks here. Storage tanks here. I wish they'd let me get close enough to show you the pumps and jacks here on these plots. They're not going to let me do that, but on my device, I believe I can. Hold on a second. I believe my device can show us close-ups of these pumping operations here, so you can actually see the pumps and jacks here on these plots of land. Okay, I got one of them here. I've got one of them here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. This earthquake was a 0.3 microquake here near Stanton, Texas. The 0.3 microquake here near Stanton, Texas. Let's go further north here. Look at this here, guys. Oil and gas pumps and jacks here. Pumps and jacks here, guys. USGS won't let us get close enough to see what exactly is going on, but the EMA, the EMSC European map is letting us do that. All throughout this area, guys, all throughout this area are oil and gas fields. Right smack dab in the middle of an oil and gas field here. All kinds of activity happening here. Look at all the pumps and jacks throughout this area here. Huge oil and gas field here. Now, if one of these earthquakes is within 6 to 10 miles of a pump and jack, it's a oil and gas earthquake. An oil and gas earthquake. Guess what? I've already shown you oil and gas earthquakes here, because every one of these earthquakes is within 6 to 10 miles of one of these pumping operations here. Unreal. Unreal. Pumps and jacks all over the area. Texas is known for oil. Texas is known for oil. Literally everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? Then, I've shown you Texas here. This is New Mexico. They say it's New Mexico, but this is southwestern Texas. Here you see the border of New Mexico here, and southern Texas where these earthquakes are hitting. Southwestern Texas where these earthquakes are hitting. This is the 1.8 tremor here. This is a 1.7. This is a 2.0 earthquake. This is 1.6 tremor here. This is a 2.0 earthquake here. This is a 1.6 tremor here. This is a 2.0 earthquake. Look at this, guys. These are oil and gas earthquakes here. These are very much oil and gas earthquakes. All throughout this region here. Oil and gas earthquakes. Here on the EMSC map here, the European map, we're showing two earthquakes here that I'm showing you here. Look at the oil and gas fracking plots right there. They're very plain. They're very plain here. Right there. You can see them very easily. Here's a pump and jack right here. Okay? They're literally everywhere. Now, let me give you some other information here. You might think that if these earthquakes are there, where are they at? If any one of these drill points goes straight down, it can. They can also go perpendicular like this. They can also go perpendicular like this, or they can go straight across like this to hit the oil and gas that they're seeking. Straight across, perpendicular, and also straight down. They don't necessarily have to be, the earthquakes don't necessarily have to be at the pump and jack itself. They can be perpendicular, they can go straight across, or straight down. Yes, we've had earthquakes that are straight down right next to or on the plot of land where the pump and jack is. Okay? That's what's going on here in Texas and also Oklahoma. Oklahoma is ripe for earthquakes as well. Let's go over here to Oklahoma. Oklahoma has earthquakes as well. This is Stroud, Oklahoma. We've had many earthquakes here in Stroud, Oklahoma here. Let's zoom in here. This is 5 kilometers north of Stroud, Oklahoma. 5 kilometers north of Stroud, Oklahoma. That's 2 miles north of Stroud, Oklahoma. 2 miles north. Let's zoom in here, guys. Let's figure out what's going on here. Already we see some pumps and jacks right over here. Right over here to the southwest. Pumps and jacks. We also see a plot of land right there. Stroud, Oklahoma. I'm going over here to the USGS map, or on the EMSC map. I want to show you what's going on here in Stroud, Oklahoma. Okay, in this specific area here, they've taken the pump and jack down, but that doesn't mean there's not a hole going into the ground here to try to find oil. They may have used this as an exploratory hole here, or maybe they pumped the oil out of this hole and pulled the pump and jack off. The hole is still there. The hole is still there. Okay? There are other pumps and jacks also in this area. Down here to the south. Down here to the south, down here. This is as close as we can get to it. But guess what? See the pumps and jacks here? They're still here. They're still here. Again, I'm trying to educate you on what happens here in Texas and Oklahoma. Happens all the time. Literally all the time here. For the south here in Oklahoma, this is Bull Legs, Oklahoma. I have never taken a look at Bull Legs, Oklahoma before. This may be the first earthquake we've had here in Bull Legs, Oklahoma. Let's zoom in here and take a look at this. This is a 1.6 tremor here, 11 kilometers southeast of Bull Legs, Oklahoma. Bull Legs, Oklahoma, I guess it's up here. Interesting. Very interesting. This is 11 kilometers, just about 5.5 miles southeast of Bull Legs, Oklahoma. Now, there are some other things that can come into play here. A couple other things that come into play here. Right down here, I don't see any pumps and jacks until we get way down here. There was a pump and jack right here. But guys, guess what? It's not the only location. It's not the only location. Up here to the north, to the south, or excuse me, the southwest here. From the southwest here. Right here. Pump and jack, guys. There's a pump and jack going on here. Pump and jack is right there. You see the holding ponds here, guys? That is sewage that's been treated to inject into the well here near Bull Lake, Oklahoma. Bull Lake, Oklahoma, guys. That's within 6 to 10 miles from this earthquake. This is very well what happened here. Oil and gas fracking earthquake here in Oklahoma. One more here. One more here, right there. Now, USGS is saying this may be an explosion. Let's take a look at this, guys. USGS is showing this yield sign here being an explosion here, a quarry blast. Well, guys, this is almost 1,000 meters away from the quarry. 1,000 meters away from the quarry, that's 3,000 feet. 3,000 feet to the northeast from this quarry. This may not be a quarry blast at all. This may not be a quarry blast at all. It's a wooded area. This is a wooded area, guys. They're not doing any quarry blasting anywhere near this earthquake at all. There's a road down south from this earthquake. Interesting. Interesting. Now, guys, as I said before, we've shown you this information before. This is not going to be the first time we show you this. Okay? What do you guys think it is? What do you guys think it is? I don't believe this is a quarry blast at all. Spontaneous combustus carnivorous. Maybe an exploding tree. Yeah, an exploding tree. I'm joking a little bit about this. USGS continues to show this kind of crap to us. They're not even being honest with us at all. They're trying to make things up. That's what they do here. They invent situations that are not true. We showed this kind of stuff to you before. This is not the first time. This by far is not the first time it's happened. It's happened a lot. Spontaneous combustion carnivorous? No. This is a tremor out here. This is a tremor out here near Mill Creek, Oklahoma. Mill Creek, Oklahoma. Now I'm going to go up here to the northeast here, right here. Guess what? Pump and jack. Pump and jack here, guys. They can do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. It does not necessarily make it to be truth. Pump and jack, guys. Oil and gas fracking operation within 6 to 10 miles from this earthquake. pump and jack oil fracking earthquake. Oil fracking earthquake here, guys. Okay? I hate to say that. He said, an agency that I used to respect wholly and completely, lying through their teeth. Lying through their teeth. I hate doing this. It bothers me a great deal. Bothers me a great deal. They don't show all the earthquakes, number one. And when they do it, when they do show some earthquakes, they lie about where they're at. They lie about their size. They lie about everything. Heaven forbid we know the truth. Heaven forbid we know the truth. We have some new earthquakes here on the USGS map here. This earthquake here, Silver Springs, Nevada. Silver Springs, Nevada. We still having earthquakes here. We're still seeing aftershocks here. Silver Springs, Nevada. This is a 2.8 minor earthquake here. This is a 1.5 tremor here. Silver Springs, Nevada. But again, where is it at? Where is it at? On the Walker Lane Fault here. See this volcano right here, this lake? This is called Pyramid Lake. This is a volcano. From the tip of the southern part of Pyramid Lake, all the way down south to the Gulf of California, is the Walker Lane Fault. The Walker Lane Fault, guys. This may be an earthquake on the Walker Lane Fault. Yes, there are faults here in Nevada. There are. But this may be on the Walker Lane Fault. It's here. It fits all the description here. Fits everything. Further south here, Markleeville, California. Last time we had an earthquake here in Markleeville, it was on the Walker Lane Fault. 2.8 earthquake here, and it's a brand new earthquake. Or it was. It was. They've now just made it a regular earthquake. Now, Walker Lane Fault follows the area, mountainous area here. Follows the mountains all the way down here to the south. All the way down here to the south. Through the desert area of Southern California. All the way down here to the south. Through the Imperial County here. All the way down here to the south to the Gulf of California. Guys, I've said it and I've said it again. We are still seeing earthquakes on the Walker Lane Fault. We're still seeing earthquakes on the San Andreas Fault here. Right here. The San Andreas Fault here. Brawley, California. Brawley, California. Further south here, Holtville, California. Holtville, California, guys. This is 8 kilometers west of Holtville. 8 kilometers west of Holtville. Why is that important? Here in Holtville, they have a museum of sorts that's called the Salton Sea Desert Research Station here in Holtville. It has a seismograph here. A seismograph that we, the public, are locked out of now. They're not allowing us to see the seismograph here. But here in Holtville, We have plenty of earthquakes every day. Every day. All kinds of tremors here in Holtville, all kinds of minor earthquakes here in Holtville, and yes, an occasional 3.0 earthquake here in Holtville. Every day. Every day, guys. Okay? Let's take you over here to Calipatria here. Calipatria. Guys, every day we see earthquakes here. Literally every day. USGS doesn't want to see them. They're not putting the earthquakes here. They never want to put these earthquakes here in Calipatria because there's anywhere from 75 to 150 earthquakes here every day here in Calipatria. Calipatria, California, guys. Don't forget that name. Don't forget that name. That's going to become a very important name to remember. A very important name to remember. Now, I'm going to go over here to Calipatria on the USGS map here. Not this particular map, but the Lassen Volcanic Center here. Lassen Volcanic Center map. We can bring up earthquakes in Southern California on the Lassen Volcanic Center map. Remember that. If you wonder if anything's going on in the volcanoes, the Lassen Volcanic Center map, you can move around. You can actually see earthquakes at the volcanoes as well, including Mount Lassen, Mount Shasta, and up to the north, up even until we get up into Oregon. Then it stops. Then it stops. I'm going to take the Lassen volcano map down to Calipatria, California. I'm going to show you the earthquakes right now in Calipatria, California today. Today, guys. Today. I'm showing you this here because it's important. This is very important. Okay? Okay, I now have those earthquakes in my database. Let me transfer them over here so I can show you exactly what's going on here. Again, I believe this is very important. That's why I took the time to pull it up here. Right here. Look at this seismogram here. The seismogram is a computerized readout from the seismograph itself. So what we're looking at here are all the earthquakes that happened around Calipatria, California today. From last night about 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon until right now. Until right now. Look at all of these earthquakes since early morning to late this afternoon. Pacific time. Pacific time. I believe there's close to 150 earthquakes here today. Close to 150 earthquakes, both tremors. Yes, maybe some microquakes here. I don't see any microquakes necessarily, but I certainly do see some tremors. I see some 2.0 earthquakes here. See this big earthquake here? I shouldn't say necessarily big, but it's a wide earthquake here, marked in red. Marked in red. Guess what? Normally, just by looking at it, just by itself, this would be a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. However, the top and the bottom of this earthquake here was cut off. The top and the bottom of this earthquake sequence here was cut off, meaning this earthquake in and of itself was a large earthquake. A large earthquake. At least a 3.0 earthquake, at least. This earthquake also lasts about 20 seconds. That fits within the 3.0 theory. Small earthquake lasts about 20 seconds. Now down here this earthquake happened at approximately 6:24 p.m. yesterday evening. Now, later yesterday evening here, you see an earthquake here in red. This earthquake occurred at 10:12 p.m. last night. This would be a 2.5, 2.6 earthquake normally. This earthquake lasts about 10 seconds. Again, I want to say that this earthquake is probably also 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake here. Now, the reason some of these earthquakes are in red, the red is computer generated to get these seismologists' attention saying, this is important earthquake. This is important information you need to see. You need to pay attention to. That's why we see these earthquakes in red. Not all of them, but some of them. Yes, there are some 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here. There are. But some of these earthquakes are actually larger than what they are saying they are. Let's go further down here today. Early this morning, gang, right here, after 7:31 this morning, just prior to 7:31, we had a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake. At 7:31 itself, we had at least a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake, but this earthquake lasts about 7 seconds. The top and the bottom of this earthquake sequence was cut off. That means this earthquake was larger. That means this earthquake was probably a 3.0 earthquake here. Then we go further over here to the right on the same time length. After 7:30 this morning, this is about 7:37, 7:38 this morning. This would be a 2.6, 2.7 earthquake. But again, the top and the bottom of this sequence was cut off. This also is a 3.0 earthquake. Now, there's some other extenuating circumstances why I'm saying that. Look at the blue on the left-hand side and the right side of this sequence. Those blue areas are tremor activity, pre-earthquake activity. The blue afterwards is also pre-earthquake activity. That holds to the same theorem that this was at least a 3.0 earthquake. Prior seismic activity before and post activity afterwards. Look at all the other activity here. This lays to reason here. Over here to the right, you also see these earthquakes here in red with blue bubbles around them. Those blue bubbles are magma. It's showing here on the seismograph. Magma. Okay? It's called magma pulse signals. The thicker the lines, the more magma that's coming into the magma chamber here. This doesn't necessarily have to be a volcano, but magma coming through the magma chamber here, which happens to be here, a magma chamber near Salton Butte Volcano, southeast of Salton Butte Volcano. There is very possibly even a magma reservoir down here beneath the southeastern side of the Salton Sea here in the Imperial Valley. This may even be a magma chamber here. And we're seeing a lot of earthquakes here as a result. Inflation. Magma chamber here. We show inflation here, meaning the ground rising up here. The ground rising up here. Probably close to 150 earthquakes here in Calipatria alone. Calipatria alone, guys, today. We've seen this before. This is not the first time we've seen a seismogram from Calipatria, California. This happens every day here. Every day. USGS will never ever be honest with us of what happens here. Yes, they can show this to us. They can show a lot of these earthquakes on the USGS map, but they're not going to do it. They just plain aren't going to do it. They don't believe it will do any justice because then they would be accountable. They would be accountable here. Now, I'm going to take the USGS, or the, not the USGS, I'm going to take the seismograph down for the time being here. Now I want to show you where the Salton Butte volcano is. The Salton Butte volcano is right here, under the southern part of the Salton Sea. It's covered by water. It's covered by water. Now, some of you that have been with me for a very long time, when the water level gets lower here at the Salton Sea, late summer even, there are fingers of sand and obsidian lava here at the butt of Salton Butte volcano. Fingers sticking up. Fingers sticking up like this. Like this. Fingers sticking up out of the ground. These are sand and obsidian fingers. Sand and obsidian fingers. You need to also know this. Salton Butte volcano is an active volcano and it can erupt at any moment. It could erupt at any moment. Now, something else you need to know here about this. As I showed you Calipatria here, that's what's going on over here on the just southwestern side of the Salton Sea. Over here is Calipatria. Okay? Right here. Just north of Calipatria, we have a geothermal facility. A geothermal facility. What does that do? The geothermal facility is where men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Salton Butte volcano to obtain steam. To obtain steam. To generate electricity here. To generate electricity here in the Imperial Valley. Now I'm going to zoom in here. I want to show you one of the geothermal facilities. There are 9 of them. There are 9 geothermal facilities here in the Imperial Valley here. 9 of them. Why am I not seeing it here? This is kind of important to understand what's happening here. Okay, this is one of them here. This is one of the 9 geothermal facilities here. You can see the turbines here. You see the turbines. Here is where they take the steam from the Salton Butte volcano and they turn the turbines here to generate electricity. The steam turns the turbines here to generate electricity. There are 9 geothermal facilities here throughout the Imperial Valley. This is just one of them. Also, you see the same holding ponds we saw when we see oil and gas fracking facilities. They take the treated sewage and inject it into the volcanic chamber to continue to produce steam from the volcano. They do it to produce steam from the volcano to generate electricity here in the Imperial Valley. They do this all over Southern California. The Coles Volcanic region, they do the same thing. In the Geysers facility, 100 miles north of San Francisco, they do the same thing. Over north of Reno, Nevada, they have another geothermal facility there. They do the same thing there. Okay? That is one reason why we have earthquakes here. Okay? Whenever men drill into the surface of the volcano, seismic energy comes off the Pacific plate, comes over here to the drill points, and it fractures the rock inside the the holes. Man-made earthquake faults. Drill holes here in the upper magma chambers of the volcano constitute man-made earthquake faults. That's why we have earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley. One of many reasons. The other is the San Andreas Fault, as you can see here. We are still seeing earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley here. This, they say, is 8 kilometers, 4 miles west of Holtville. 4 miles west of Holtville. This earthquake here is near Brawley, 3 miles southwest of Brawley here. 3 miles southwest of Brawley there. Okay? They're still not showing the earthquakes here in El Centro. Now, this earthquake here that they're saying is 4 miles west of Holtville. It appears it's also closer to El Centro. Closer to El Centro. Here in El Centro every day until they cut us off from the seismograms. Every day here in El Centro, we had 9 3.0 earthquakes. 9 3.0 small earthquakes. Sometimes 3.2, 3.3 small earthquakes here in El Centro. As I said before, one of our own EMA family members, Juanito, lives here in El Centro. He was on our program here in the chat last week. As he reported last week, he and his family were feeling all those earthquakes last week that hit here. They felt all these earthquakes here. 25 earthquakes on Tuesday last week. 25 earthquakes here in El Centro last week. And on Saturday before that, they had over 300 earthquakes here. Over 300 earthquakes here in the Imperial Valley here. No joke. That's what they had here. But they're only saying that because of the earthquake that happened here. 4.8 earthquake, they pointed out. They did not bother even taking into account what was happening here in Calpatria. Or even further north here, also on the San Andreas Fault, here Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach tends to have large earthquakes here. Bombay Beach tends to have large earthquakes here for a reason. Not only is it on the San Andreas Fault, it's very close to the Salton Butte volcano. The Salton Butte volcano. Let's show you Bombay Beach here. Today. I can tell you whatever I want to tell you, I want to show you what's actually going on. That way there's no doubt of what I'm telling you at all. I don't want to ever have you doubt what I tell you. That's why I try to show you whatever is going on here. I want to make sure it's truthful. Look at this. These are the earthquakes at Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach, guys. This is not a joke. These earthquakes here happened. No, I'm sorry, that's not the one. That's Calipatria. This is Bombay Beach here. Bombay Beach here, guys. Look at this. Let me enlarge this, okay? I want you to know what happened here. This top earthquake here happened just after 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Happened just after 3 p.m. yesterday afternoon. You see a large blob of magma here. Magma causes earthquakes. You see lines going through here. These vertical lines are tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors, minor earthquakes. This upper blob here is after 3 p.m., closer to 3:17 p.m. yesterday afternoon. Some of the longer lines, if we can see what was above it, some of these longer lines could be 2.0 earthquakes as well. Then after that, you see horizontal lines here. These horizontal lines are showing magma here. Magma pulse signals. The thinner the line, less magma. The thicker the line, more magma. Then you have large earthquakes here. Go figure. Large earthquakes. After 6:15 p.m. last night, 6:15 p.m. We go over here to the right. Then we're at approximately 6:20 p.m. 6:20. Again, this seismic sequence was cut off at the top and the bottom. We're looking at least a 3.5 earthquake here. At least a 3.5 earthquake. This earthquake signal here lasts just over 2 minutes. This earthquake signal here lasts over 2 minutes. How would you like to be over here at Bombay Beach feeling these earthquakes today? Yeah. There are people here that camp in campers here at Bombay Beach. They have motorhomes here. There are so many people that camp here that someone here has established a coffee shack here. A coffee shack where they sell coffee and pastries here. People here feel these earthquakes every day. This is at least a 3.5 earthquake. You see 3.5 earthquakes all over here. Then we come down to this longer earthquake here. This longer earthquake happened after this happened after 11:30 p.m. last night. About 11:06 p.m. last night. I believe we had a 4.05 earthquake here. 4.05 earthquake. This particular earthquake lasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. 5-minute long earthquake, and after that on the blue line here, guess what? We have a secondary quake here. The secondary quake is where the seismic energy starts to diminish from the main quake. The secondary quake here lasts nearly 2 full minutes, which means this was at least a 4.5 earthquake here. A 4.5 earthquake. And prior to that earthquake hitting, we also had some preliminary seismic energy hitting here as well. Mostly tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes being 2.0 earthquakes. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, we had 3.5, 4.0, and 4.5 earthquakes hitting here. Yeah. 5 minutes worth of seismic energy. 5 minutes worth of shaking. Unreal, guys. Unreal. Look at these earthquakes here. Some of them are 2.8, 2.9. Others are 3.0 earthquakes. Then we come down here to this morning. This morning after 5:45. 5:50 this morning. 5:50 this morning. This earthquake lasted 3 minutes. 3 minutes. This was at least a 3.5 earthquake. 3.5 earthquake. Prior to this earthquake happening, we had tremors and minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.1 earthquakes. Then we had 3.5. Then we had secondary information here. The secondary wave. The secondary wave was a minute and a half. Minute and a half. The secondary wave was 2.6, 2.7 earthquakes, down to 2.0, down to tremors, and then diminished completely. Then 5 minutes later, we had another earthquake. Another earthquake. That earthquake was probably a 3.0 small earthquake. Then down here after that, okay? After this time, after 8 a.m. 8 a.m. on the left-hand side. Over here on the right, 8, 10, 8, 11 a.m. this morning. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes and about 45 seconds worth of shaking here. Nearly 5 minutes worth of shaking. Before this earthquake happened, we had like 2.5 to 3 minutes of shaking before that. Tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors building up to from 1.0 to 1.4, 1.5, on up to 2.0 earthquake. Then that 3.5 took over. And then after that, the secondary part of the quake took over. The secondary earthquake lasts another 2 minutes. 2 minutes. This happens every day here at Bombay Beach. Bombay Beach, guys. All the time, every day. On the San Andreas Fault and just north of the Sultan Butte Volcano. Just north of the Sultan Butte Volcano, every day. All the time. All the time. Now, I've shown you all these earthquakes here in the United States. I've shown you earthquakes and volcanoes here in the United States. Now I want to start showing you earthquakes and volcanoes around the world. Literally around the world, guys. That's where we're going with this. That's where we're going with this. Yes, we have a good share of earthquakes and volcanoes here. Okay? Last night we talked to you about volcanoes up in the Pacific Northwest, specifically Mount Meager in Canada. Mount Meager in Canada is a volcano over here in Vancouver, British Columbia, just north of Vancouver here. 130 miles north of Vancouver. A volcano that looks like it might erupt. Looks like it might erupt. Tonight, I want to go over here across the Pacific Ocean. This time over here, to the Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia. The Kamchatka Peninsula, Russia, right here. Shivalus volcano. Shivalus volcano has been erupting. It's been erupting, guys, a great deal. Let's talk about this. Today, explosive activity at Shivalus continues. It started early Tuesday morning. It's continuing today. We had a 3,200 foot, that's not right. We had a 32,000 foot altitude volcanic plume. A 32,000 foot volcanic plume, 98 meters high. Volcanic ash plume. Ash and toxic gases, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, and sulfur hydroxide, 98 meters high in the sky, or flight level 3,200 feet. South there, down here to the south, Benzimini volcano. I believe that's right here. Benzimini volcano. Explosive activity continues here as well. Here at Benzimini, we had a 28,000 volcanic plume. Ash and gas. Ash and gas volcanic plume. 28,000 feet high, 8,500 meters high, flight level 280, 28,000 feet high. Let's go down to the Central Philippines. Central Philippines here, guys. What's happened here? What's happened here? We have a volcano here called Canaleon Volcano. Canaleon Volcano, Central Philippines. Today we had a 9,000 foot eruption here at Canaleon Volcano. Flight level 900. An ash and gas plume up to 9,000 feet high. Canaleon Volcano. Luzon, Philippines. Northern Philippines here. Right up here. Right up here, guys. 12 volcano. Here, the eruption continues. Started yesterday. It continues. Right now, they've not had any volcanic ash eruption today, but now they have listed here a 1 class level unrest. 1 class level unrest, 5 being the highest. This is one class here. Also on Luzon, Philippines. On Luzon, Philippines here. Down right here. Mayon Volcano. The Philippine Institute of Volcanology said that the volcano erupted. A lava ash plume, maximum 400 meters high, 1,312 feet high, above the summit. 400 meters above the summit, 1,312 feet high, flight level 130. Flight level 130. There are also 326 seismically detected rock falls. 326 seismically detected rock falls here at Mayon Volcano. Average per day, toxic gases. Sulfur dioxide emissions average 658 tons of gas, 658 tons of sulfur dioxide gas from Mayon volcano today and yesterday both. Now, also here on Luzon, Philippines, another volcano down here to the south, Bulusan volcano, Bulusan volcano. The Philippine Institute of Seismology said that it erupted yesterday and is continuing. The unrest is continuing. Yesterday, they had the eruption up to 100 meters high, 328 feet above the summit of the volcano. Volcanic seismicity was recorded 252 times. 252 times. From the time of the eruption with a 5.0 earthquake yesterday and 252 earthquakes since. Okay? Today, this seismicity level has come down to from a 5 to a 1 level volcano, meaning low level seismicity here at the volcano. Down here in Papua New Guinea. Let's go over here to Papua New Guinea now. Okay? In the Bismarck Sea here. In the Bismarck Sea here. We have an undersea mount volcano. The Volcanic Ash Advisory Center out of Australia is saying there are emissions up to 19,000 feet high. Flight level 190. 19,000 foot high emissions into the sky. Ash and also volcanic gases. Sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide gas here up to 19,000 feet high off the surface of the ocean here in the Bismarck Sea. Going over here into Indonesia. Halmahera, Indonesia here. Halmahera, Indonesia right here. Near this earthquake here. Halmahera, Indonesia. Dukono volcano. Dukono volcano. We've talked a lot about Dukono volcano through the last 7 years. Dukono volcano erupts every day. Every day. A volcanic ash plume rose up to 10,000 feet off the summit of the volcano. The volcanic ash plume and gas rose off the summit of the volcano up to 10,000 feet off the volcano, up to flight level 3,000. Flight level 300. Let's go over here to Sumatra, Indonesia here. Sumatra, Indonesia up here. We have many volcanoes over here in Sumatra, Indonesia. This one here, Telong volcano. The Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard here has reported that this volcano now is a level 2 alert. A volcano level 2 alert out of a 4-level system. Meaning it is not erupting right now, but it is showing signs of a possible eruption in the very near future. Meaning earthquakes are hitting here beneath the surface of the volcano. Seismic activity is happening here inside the volcano. Earthquakes. Let's go down here in East Java, Indonesia. East Java, Indonesia here. Right here. We had a 5.2 earthquake here. Guess what? We have Raung volcano here. R-A-U-N-G volcano here in East Java. The Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard here in Indonesia here is reporting we now have no volcanic ash being lifted up here into our skies, but it has stopped erupting. Now we are at a level 2 volcanic alert. We're at a level 2 volcanic alert here at Raung volcano. Let's go back up here into Halmahera, Indonesia here. Halmahera, central Indonesia here. Another volcano happened here. This is Gamalama volcano. Gamalama volcano here in Halmahera. The Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazards here in Indonesia reported that the eruption started yesterday afternoon. Gas and vapor clouds rose to a maximum of 500 meters, 1,640 feet off the summit of the volcano. 1,640 feet off the summit of the volcano. Gamalama volcano here in Halmahera, Indonesia. Then we go down here to Central Java. Central Java, Indonesia here. Right down here. Central Java, Indonesia, guys. Yes, we have several volcanoes right here. This one here, Slamet volcano. Slamet volcano. The Indonesia Volcanology and Seismological Hazard Area here said that Slamet volcano started erupting yesterday, and today it's reached a level 2 action alert. It's reached a level 2 action alert, meaning it could erupt still. Not erupting now, but can erupt. Level 4 is the highest level of eruption cycle here in Indonesia. We'll go back up to Halmahera, Indonesia here. We'll go back up here north into Halmahera, Indonesia, central Indonesia here. Right up here. Mount Ibu volcano. We talked about Mount Ibu on Monday. Explosive activity continues here at Halmahera, Indonesia, at Mount Ibu. The center here in Indonesia warned about a volcanic ash plume here from Mount Ibu that rose up to an estimated 8,000 feet off the summit of the volcano. Flight level 240, 2,400 meters off the surface of the volcano. Actually, it's not flight level 240, it's flight level 0800, 8,000 feet high. Flight level 800, 8,000 feet high. Gas and vapor plumes continue to rise up towards 200 meters, 656 feet high above the event. There were 119 explosions today, with plumes rising to a maximum of 800 meters, 2,625 feet from the vent. Here this afternoon, the alert level is dropped to level 2 out of 4. 2 out of 4 here at Mount Ibu in Halmahera, Indonesia. I'm going back here to Central Java. Central Java, Indonesia, right about in here. Merapi volcanoes here. The volcanology and geological hazard area here in Indonesia has said that Merapi started erupting yesterday. Gas and vapor plumes rose to a maximum of 10,000 feet high. 10,000 feet high. They came down to 10 meters high, 33 feet off the vent. Seismicity of earthquakes around the volcano related to the pyroclastic density. Currents came down the side of the volcano. Pyroclastic lava and lava balls rocketed off the volcano. There were 6 hot rock falls. There were 6 hot rock falls here at Merapi volcano yesterday. Now it's come down to still a level 4 eruption. Still level 4 eruption because there's hot lava coming down the side of the volcano. This is at Merapi volcano here in Central Java, Indonesia. Let's go back here to Eastern Java. Eastern Java, Indonesia, right here. Here we have Semeru volcano. Explosive activity continues here at Semeru volcano. Today, a 15,000-foot ash cloud, 15,000-foot ash and gas cloud off the summit of the volcano. 15,000-foot gas cloud and ash. Flight level 150. There are 53 explosions here at Semeru Volcano, with gas and ash plumes rising to a maximum of 1,000 meters high, 3,281 feet high above the event. There are 3 seismically detected rock falls. 3 seismically detected rock falls, lava bombs coming from the volcano today. Now let's go over to Krakatoa. Let's go over to Krakatoa volcano here, right between Java and Sumatra, Indonesia here. Krakatoa volcano, guys, right there. The Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard here in Indonesia is saying that there's continued unrest at Krakatoa. They had a gas and vapor cloud yesterday morning. It rose up to about 5 meters high, 16 feet above the vent. The alert level here at Krakatoa is alert level 2 out of 4. Alert level 2 of 4. Let's go to Luotobi volcano in the Florida Sea. Luotobi volcano here in the Florida Sea here. Right up here. Similar volcanoes here in the Florida Sea. Here at Semeru, we had a 15,000-foot eruption, 4,600 meters high. Flight level 150, 15,000 feet high. Here at Semeru volcano here in the Florida Sea, we had 53 explosions from the volcano, with gas plumes and ash plumes rising to a maximum of 1,000 meters, 3,283 feet high above the vent today. The ash and gas plumes rose up to 1,000 meters, 3,280 feet high above the vent. There were 3 seismically detected rock falls. 3 seismically detected rock falls, meaning lava balls coming out of the volcano, Semeru volcano. Does anybody have any questions for me so far? I want to go now to southeastern Mexico. Southeastern Mexico. This time over here, southeast of Mexico City. Southeast of Mexico City. Popocatépetl. Excuse me. Popocatépetl volcano. They had an eruption started here on Monday, 18 May, 2026. Yesterday, 19 May. Ash, gas, and vapor plumes were reported. A total of 198 low-intensity exhalations were recorded. 198 low-intensity exhalations, meaning ash and gas plumes rising from Popocatépetl yesterday. That means almost continuous ash and vapor clouds rising from Popocatépetl during the day. Okay? Along with 6.5 minutes of high-frequency tremors. 6.5 minutes of high-frequency tremors activity. That's huge. Yesterday morning at 1:09 a.m., a magnitude 1.6 volcanic tectonic earthquake, 1.6 tremor here at Popocatépetl was recorded. 1.6 tremor here at Popocatépetl yesterday morning. The alert level here at Popocatépetl is now at level 2. Level 2. It's no longer pushing out lava outside the volcano. Any lava that's already outside is already there. It's cooling off. It's cooling off. Let's go down to Guatemala now. Guatemala here. Fuego volcano here. Fuego volcano, guys. Fuego volcano is still erupting. Still erupting. Fuego volcano erupted this morning up to 15,000 feet high. 4,600 meters high. Flight level 150. 150. 15,000 foot eruptive feature of ash and gas here from Fuego volcano here in Guatemala. Let's go south to Ecuador. South Ecuador in South America. Ecuador here. We have two volcanoes here in Ecuador, Sangay and Reventador. Reventador volcano is right here. Yesterday, Reventador was erupting up to 18,000 feet high. Today, Sangay volcano right here has been erupting. Sangay volcano here had an eruption up to 20,500 feet high. 20,500 feet high. 6,200 meters, 6,200 meters high. Flight level 205. Flight level 205 here in Ecuador. That's all that happened here in South America. That's all that's happened here in South America. I've shown you the volcanoes that are erupting. I've shown you the volcanoes that have signs of eruption now. I've given you the alert levels here. We need to remember this. We have active volcanoes around the world. We have active volcanoes around the world. We have two active volcanoes over in Africa that are not erupting at all. In the Republic of the Congo. Two active volcanoes in the Republic of the Congo here in north central Africa, right up in here. They're not erupting at all right now. Okay? Do we have any questions about this? Jesus Saves here is in the chat. We appreciate you being here, Jesus. Appreciate you here. Jesus is asking us, do you think the other Pacific ring volcanoes on the other side of the ocean are setting off the east and vice versa? Possibly. Possibly. Earthquakes do happen. But right now we have no evidence of that happening. There are no antipodal earthquakes hitting yet. Yes, the majority of the earthquakes are happening in the Pacific Ocean. We don't have any recorded earthquakes here today in the Atlantic. If we had earthquakes here in the Atlantic that are antipodal meaning opposite side of the earth, they're not seen. They're not seen. I keep track of that. I keep very close track of that. Usually does not happen. Usually does not happen. That's a good question, though. Any questions, guys? Before I end this program, I want to go over here to Puerto Rico. Southern Puerto Rico, we just had another earthquake. They took the other one off that was already here. This earthquake just happened. This is the 3.0 earthquake here. Nermagas Arriba, Puerto Rico. Nermagas Arriba, Puerto Rico. 3.0 earthquake here, guys. This is an aftershock. An aftershock of two earthquakes that happened here, December 26th and December 28th, 2019. Those earthquakes were major earthquakes. 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes. 8.0 earthquake happened on December 26th, and 8.4 earthquake happened on December 28th. This is an aftershock of that earthquake. 3 points earthquake here in southwestern Puerto Rico. Up here to the north. This is not an aftershock. This is an earthquake here on the northwest side of Puerto Rico here. This is a 2.8 minor earthquake. 2.8 minor earthquake. Out here to the southeast, the southeastern side of Puerto Rico. This earthquake has nothing to do with the earthquakes back in 2026. This earthquake happened here, just southeast of Puerto Rico, off the island here. Off the island. This is a 2.5 earthquake. This is a 2.5 earthquake southeast of Puerto Rico here. Okay? We go back up here to the north. Right here. This happens to be southeast of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. This is a 3.1 earthquake here, 79 kilometers north of Culebra, Puerto Rico. North of Culebra, Puerto Rico, but it's also southwest of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. Further up here to the north, this is a 3.0 earthquake here. Also southwest of Charlotte Amalie, U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. These earthquakes here are closer to the Virgin Islands here. This is a 3.0 earthquake. This is a 2.7 earthquake here. This is a 3.0 earthquake. This is a 3.0 earthquake. This is a 3.1 small earthquake. This is a 3.1 small earthquake. This is a 3.3 earthquake, small earthquake. This earthquake is a 3.4 small earthquake, the largest of the earthquakes here. This is a 2.7 minor earthquake, 2.7 minor earthquake here, and a 3.2 small earthquake here. This is 92 kilometers northeast of Cruz Bay, U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. Off the coast, way out to sea here, from the U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. Guys, why do we have these earthquakes here? The simple reason is this. Look up north here. Look up north. Here we have an earthquake fault, a major earthquake fault. Major earthquake fault. Where does it come from? It comes from Guatemala. We have an earthquake here in the fault. This is the 3.7 earthquake here. This is north-northwest, 173 miles north-northwest of the valley Aveyah out here in the Leeward Islands here. A 3.7 earthquake northwest of the Aveyah, Leeward Islands. But this earthquake happened as a result of this earthquake fault. These other earthquakes here near the Virgin Islands here, they were also a result of this earthquake fault. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a serious look at it. Here we have the DR, the Dominican Republic. That same earthquake fault runs east and west out of Guatemala, east of Guatemala, runs all the way east out there to the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Then it takes a southerly turn, goes down almost parallel to the Leeward Islands until it gets down almost even with Venezuela. Then it takes a western turn into Venezuela. Unreal. I kid you not. I'll show it to you in a second. This same earthquake fault goes north of Haiti here. It skirts southern Cuba, goes north of Jamaica here. And right here, where it gets name of the fault, the Cayman Ridge. These are the Cayman Islands here. This is the Cayman Ridge here, the Cayman Ridge. It starts down here in Guatemala, runs out here in the Caribbean, then it runs north over here, just south of to the Cayman Islands here, continues its eastward trip, north of Jamaica, just skirting southern Cuba here, north of Haiti, north of the Dominican Republic, north of Puerto Rico, north of U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. Then it comes out here in the Atlantic Ocean here. And it starts its southwardly turn here on the leeward side, the east side of the Leeward Islands here, and continues south until it gets over here towards Venezuela. That comes over here to Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago. I'm sure you've heard of these islands here. Tourist traps again. Tourist traps here. Famous tourist traps. The Cayman Ridge here is a very, very powerful volcanic ridge. Very powerful volcanic ridge. Carries earthquakes from Central America all the way out here. Every day here. Okay, any questions? And yes, believe it or not, Carol's does push them up. I've seen her. Maybe I ought to get a picture of her pushing them up. Then you can laugh a little bit. Okay. Any questions about anything we've shown you? At present time, we have no volcanoes here in Alaska that are even showing any signs of eruption. We have one earthquake over here off the western side of the thumb of Alaska. This is a 3.2 earthquake here, actually not 3.2, 3.6 earthquake here off the thumb of Alaska, right between Alaska and Russia here. Right between Alaska and Russia here, closer to Alaska here. 3.6 earthquake here. All the other earthquakes here are either tremors 1.0, 1.9, 2.0, 2.9, and 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes here in Alaska. That's all that's happened here. That's all that's happened. It's quiet here, very quiet. Very, very quiet here. Like I said, tomorrow I'm going to talk about earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest and talk about the volcanoes here in the Pacific Northwest as well. They're hardly showing any activity at all. Up here in northwestern Washington here, this is Orcas Island, Washington. A 2.2 earthquake here. 2.2 earthquake here in Orcas, Washington. Orcas Island. I'll try to show you a seismogram from the Orcas Island seismograph here in Washington tomorrow. Over here at the peninsula here, the Olympic Peninsula, we have a 1.1 tremor here again at Amanda Park, Washington. Amanda Park, Washington. Right here, east of Wilderness Rim, Washington here is a 1.1 tremor here. 1.1 tremor here. We go just north of Mount Rainier here, where we have a 0.7 microquake. Over here at the rim of Mount Rainier here, we have a 0.4 microquake. On the southwest flank of Mount Rainier, they're showing a 0.3 microquake, but they're not showing any earthquakes. They're not showing any 1.1 tremors. They're not showing 2.0 earthquakes. They're not showing any 3.0 earthquakes here at Mount Rainier at all. But there are every day. Every day. Down here at Mount St. Helens, northwest Mount St. Helens, we have an earthquake here. This is 1.3 supposed explosion here. supposed explosion, guys. There is no quarry here at all. There are no quarries at all here, guys. None at all. None at all. So what is this, guys? What is this? USGS is calling it a 1.3 explosion, 22 kilometers, 10 miles southeast of Mossy Rock, Washington. It's none of that. It's none of that, guys. It's none of that. This is a 1.3 earthquake, 1.3 tremor, possibly even a spontaneous combustion carnivorous, an exploding tree here. An exploding tree here, 10 miles southeast of Mossy Rock, Washington. Go figure. Go figure, guys. Again, USGS wanted to call it a quarry blast when it's not. It's nowhere near a quarry at all. Nowhere near a quarry at all. Again, USGS don't want to take responsibility at all. Over here at Mount St. Helens, they're calling this a 0.1 microquake. A 0.1 microquake over here at the rim of Mount St. Helens. It looks to me to be inside the caldera of Mount St. Helens. The floor of the volcano. The floor of the volcano is a huge lava rock. Huge lava rock here that hardened the last time this volcano erupted, back in 2003. 2003 was the last eruption of Mount St. Helens. Before that, it was May 18th, 1980. Unreal. Now, guys, Mount St. Helens has more than just microquakes. It has more than just tremors. It has more than minor earthquakes, 2.1 or 2.0, 2.9. It has 3.0, 3.2 earthquakes here every day at Mount St. Helens. They don't want to show you that because they don't want anybody to understand what's actually going on. Again, Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier are showing signs of a possible near eruption. Signs of a possible near eruption. Why do I say that? Both of these volcanoes have melting glaciers. Both of these volcanoes are showing signs of heating. The outside of both of these volcanoes are heated up. That means there's magma up at the summit of the volcano. There's magma up at the summits of these volcanoes. Yeah. USGS doesn't want to admit anything at all. They are trying to not take responsibility for anything at all. But it's going to happen nonetheless. It's going to happen nonetheless, guys. No matter what they say and do, it's going to happen. Guaranteed. I promise you that it's going to happen. Now, guys, do you have any questions for me? I've given you a lot of information here. I've shown you a lot of territory here. I've tried to be honest here. I've shown you the exact locations. I've shown you the exact implications of what's going on here. It's happening all over the place. Everywhere. Everywhere. All around the Pacific Rim. All around the entire Pacific Rim. It's happening. Ongoing. Earthquakes and volcanoes. All around the Pacific Rim. North, south, east, and west. Now, in closing, Linda Covington says she needs to go and leave. She's going to continue monitoring by phone, I guess, and rerun the end of the show until we meet again. Linda, thank you for being here. God bless you, dear. We love you. Before I leave you today myself, I want to give you something from the scriptures. This time I'm going to St. John chapter 20, verse 31. Chapter 20, verse 31 of John. For these are written that ye might believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that by believing ye might have the strength of his name. By believing that you might have the strength of his name. Brothers and sisters that are here today, I bear you my testimony that I know for a fact that Jesus is indeed the Christ, the Son of the living God. I know that. And by you all believing, by you all studying the Word of God, you can also have your own testimony of Jesus Christ. By studying the Word of God, through studying the Scriptures and prayer, you can have your own testimony of Jesus Christ, such as I do. I know that he lives. He hears and answers prayers. He made the ultimate sacrifice for each one of us to be redeemed of sin and rise from the death of graves, overcome the grave, and live for eternity with him in heaven. May God bless each one of us. We may follow him. We may truly understand the importance of following him, the greatest of all of us, Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. Guys, we'll be back here tomorrow afternoon, sometime after 4 p.m., with more Emergency Management Associates, this time in the Pacific Northwest. And anything else that's major that happens, we'll bring it to you tomorrow afternoon as soon as the information gets here. If anything major happens between now and tomorrow afternoon, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, have a good day. Be safe out there. Love each other. May God be with you until we meet again. May God be with you until we meet again, guys. We love you very much. Take care, everybody. God bless you. See you soon. Good night.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright. We're always learning, always striving to be better, bringing you the most up-to-date information, no matter the weather. Emergency Management Associates is here for you now and forever, it's true. you.
Thank you, everyone. We love you. Have a good night.